Something that I like to do for my food plots is after I've done the initial clearing and I've gotten that plot established and I've planted it now for maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. As soon as I feel like I've got a good idea of where the deer are coming from, how this new food source has affected the deer movement in the area, once I feel like I've got a good idea of the big picture of the area, not to mention a more micro picture of my plot itself. By doing the initial clearing and then planting your food plot and letting it go for a year or two, you can see what your problem trees are. You're able to take a look at maybe leaving 6 or 7 trees, choice trees around your plot. After a year or two, you may be able to see that, okay, well, this one tree or maybe these 2 trees are really causing an issue on this one corner of my plot, and it's just not coming in as full as you would like it. Yes, your soil may be bad, but chances are you're not getting enough sunlight to your plot. So you can really get a feel for getting out there, taking a look at it in the morning, and then taking a look at it in the evening, and seeing where the shadows lie and which trees are causing those shadows, and put that into which corners of the plot or which parts of your plot are maybe not performing as well as you would like them to, and you're able to diagnose which trees need to come down. And so you're able to come down and with a chainsaw maybe just drop 1 tree or maybe 2 trees and really open up that corner of the plot that you need to. And then in doing this, you're going to give yourself the material needed to create brush piles and maybe even enhance your habitat a little bit more. You can use brush piles to not only add a food source, but you can use them to help protect maybe some choice bushes or plants or trees that you planted along the edge yourself. So by just getting out there and giving yourself time to understand what's happening with your plot, you're able to really see which trees need to come down and then able to make that choice. Today I've got a plot here. This is up in Clarion County. The soil here is pretty bad. It took me years to build the soil, but now that I have the soil built and I've got the soil basically where I want it, I'm seeing that I've got certain parts of my plot are not performing the way I want to, and this particular maple and the one behind it are really the ones causing me an issue, and so they're going to come down. I've already got this one down. Now I'm out of time for today, so the big maple behind me is going to come down probably in a week or so, but I was able to diagnose just exactly which trees need to come down, and I'm able to leave certain trees around the edges that I wanted to, like some red oaks that are prolific nut producers here that I really don't want to take if I don't have to, and I don't think I will. By dropping these maples, I'm going to give myself the sunlight needed. Another great thing that you can do when you knock down a few trees in your plot is make some brush piles along the edges. This is so good for wildlife, and it is such an underutilized tool. Brush piles are great for mice, squirrels, chipmunks, grouse, birds, and if you're like me and you love to trap and hunt gray fox and red fox, brush piles are really necessary for a good predator population as well. But one thing that you're going to notice, mice and chipmunks and squirrels are prolific planters of oak trees and a lot of our nut-bearing trees. So the more of them that you can have in your property, the better, because they spread these seeds out, they bury them, they hide them, and believe it or not, they forget where a lot of these little caches are. And so they help plant the next generation of nut trees. Not to mention that brush piles are also really good for the deer, as for right now it's going to give them a good woody browse food source, and also what this brush pile is going to do is it's going to protect the next generation of regeneration that's going to come through, and it's going to protect it from browsing until it's old enough that it can kind of get a little bit established there. So it's also really good for that. Not to mention it gives you a little bit of structure along the edge of your plot. which also is just going to help the deer feel more secure and more safe, and they're going to start to hit that plot even more than they already are. So by taking out a few choice trees after you know exactly which ones need to be knocked down, because you gave your plot a few years for you to really understand what's happening, where the deer are moving, and just which trees are causing you the issues, you're able to get glorious sunlight down to the plot, and you're going to start to notice a lot more growth, and your plot's going to do a lot better just by knocking out a few trees here and there after you know exactly which ones need to be taken down. Thanks for tuning in.